Hey, Dave and Ryan. Hey, welcome back.
Hi, Diane.
We haven't been gone from each other for too long. It's good to see you guys back in the studio.
Good to see you. I think I should be interviewing you because when I first met you, I didn't know you played guitar and sang. So.
Well, I guess I don't always tell people, But I'm glad you found it.
Either.
Yeah.
I don't tell people he plays guitar.
I don't tell anyone I play. You were awesome at the Tommy Stinson
Wow,
show.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was such an honor, of course, to play on that night and to open for y'all at First Avenue.
I've played with Tommy. It's not really an honor.
It's not.
I'm kidding. I'm going to give him a hard time. It's part of the code.
Yes, and I know, y'all, of course, raised by the
Love him
Replacements.
like a distant brother from another planet. How am I doing?
You're doing
Tommy.
great, Tommy. That First Avenue show has become a tradition for how many years that y'all have played years and years and years.
We're playing it again this year. And we almost didn't because we're like, oh, are we supposed to do annual things all the time? But yeah, it's a good gig because I guess people are home for the holidays. And
I remember people just raving about that show. Especially y'all's performance.
About your show or?
No, y'all's show.
Oh.
I'm just going to brag about myself today. No, y'all's show, your performance, it was just a memorable night.
It was memorable, but what do you remember? Did you play any mistakes or?
I don't remember any mistakes.
Did you get some good moves, some good jumps?
I think I tripped in a move, but.
Those are things I would remember too. Well, anyways, we're here for a very special reason. Y'all are releasing your 13th studio album, Slowly but Surely. Y'all played a couple of songs today and then played a throwback. Tell me about this new record, Slowly but Surely, produced by Steve Jordan. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we had been making records here, not here, in Minneapolis, not East Berlin. Sorry, that's not my line. It's Sid Hartman. You know who Sid Hartman is?
No, I don't.
Some old radio personality. Anyhow, so I decided that I was kind of the way we had been making records for a couple records was it was really intuitive and really you could every song was different in a way that sometimes it'd be like, okay, Dave, play the song to a click with an acoustic guitar, and then Michael will add the drums, and then really kind of high concept stuff, and then people have home studios, and it's like okay, so it all kind of gets. Steve is all about get the band in a room and play the song, and that's what you're going to hear. Mm-hmm. And that's the way he did it in 1990 when I worked with him. And when I worked with him in 1990, I met Nico Bolas, who's Neil Young's recording engineer. Mm-hmm. I called him up and I said, hey, man, I want to make a record. And I remember hanging out with you, and we made the record with Steve in 1990. And we sent him a song, and he mixed it, and he sent it back. And then I got a phone call from a manager, I believe, and he said, guess who wants to produce your record? And I'm
Amazing.
Like, I have no idea. And he goes, Steve Jordan. And I called Michael Bland right away, and I was like, guess who wants to produce our new record? I was very excited because working with Steve is a joy, and it's very player-oriented. It's very much about getting the performance out of the band all at the same time in the same room. And honestly, I don't think people do that very much anymore, but, whatever. So we cut the record at Terrarium here in Minneapolis.
Just in northeast Minneapolis, yep.
Mm-hmm. And then I went to New York and did the vocals and the mix at Electric Lady, and it was done. So it was really almost spontaneous feeling. A lot of the songs we were kind of playing for not the first time, but so Steve likes to capture that thing that you don't beat the song to death by playing it 30 times. You try to kind of get the initial excitement, and and it went great. It was a relatively painless record for me. That's how I say it. I've been known to have some, traumatic experiences trying to make records, but it just wasn't there. It all felt great, and hopefully that translates to the record.
Absolutely. I was thinking about Steve Jordan now that he's a drummer for one of the best, greatest rock bands that the planet has ever seen. And, when you worked with him, it's been over 30 years. Gosh, I'm like comprehending time, and I'm just like, holy man. I feel like there's probably these distinctive qualities about Steve Jordan that were available then and are available now. And you mentioned that capturing the full band, and that's what, and the horse they rode on, y'all capturing the magic of being a band. And still 30 years later, that's how he's that same tried and true producer.
Well, watching him and Michael Bland work together was I was painful. I was like, this is great.
Wow.
And I believe, as someone who fronts a band, that you really are only as good as your drummer. So there's a handful of people, and like Sterling Campbell was with the band for a while, Michael Bland, of course, and then there's these people like Charlie Drayton and Steve Jordan, and Jerry Pentecost, who's playing with us now, and they are the greatest drummers in the world. I mean, I totally believe that, and they're sought after because they're the greatest drummers in the world.
Have exceptional
And once
timing.
I started playing with these people, I got a little spoiled. And then you have this pocket, and someone can bring that pocket to you, and it all falls into the pocket, and you're like, it's like a relief. I mean, he's great. It didn't surprise me, but me and Sterling and Michael and all these people that are fans of Steve were thrilled when we heard he got the gig with the Rolling Stones. We were just like, that's so awesome.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, and speaking of drummers, y'all were drummerless today, and one thing I was just like rocking out and like hearing y'all play, like the iconic song of yours, Black Gold, and then into these new songs is just like, oh, wow, the way that y'all are able to keep time, even with just like batting the guitar in between bars in High Road. And then the way that you have to magically play these intricate guitar lines and keep phenomenal time. What is that like? You two, I feel like there's this incredible magical chemistry that you two, when you play together. Of course, it's the possession of talent, but I'm just curious about how you find each other
I might say that as a duo, I kept challenging Ryan to do more stuff.
Yeah.
So when you listen to these recordings that we just did here moments ago, he's playing the tambourine with his foot, which
cool.
You can't really tell from listening to it. But I always have to mention that it's not coming from anywhere. He's playing the tambourine with his foot, and he took it on like a champ. And then we kind of... Will you talk about the sponge tambourine, or should we not even talk about it?
Well, we can talk about it. It's a creation, I think, inspired by KT Tunstall, I believe. Someone we work with also works with her, Janine, and she created it. I think invented it basically from seeing what she was doing, and
interesting.
And just you step on it and the sponge comes back. There's a frisbee involved. We can't. It's patented. We can't say exactly how.
Anyways,
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we have fun playing as a duo, but actually, it's way more fun playing with a rhythm band section and really loud and with electric guitars and stuff. Which is cool because this new record is I played less acoustic guitar than I played on a record since Brave Dancers Union, and that was really cool to me because I was just like, Steve's like, we're going to cut it live, and you're going to play electric guitar, and that's that. And I was like, great.
Yes, it's very rock and roll. Yeah.
You know.
It's very it captures the essence of Soul Asylum's music, but while y'all continue to expand and expand. And I know you've talked about how, you know, with every record you learn new things and techniques, and it becomes easier. And you mentioned how like this record is relatively painless compared to other records. But yeah, tell me some of the characteristics you feel of this newer sound of this record that you feel are really new to Soul Asylum.
The comparison is that in 1990 when we worked with Steve, we were still kind of a punk rock band that needed honing.
Sure.
And he made us play songs over and over again, and over and over and over. And he taught us how to play together as a band more so than we had, and we'd been together for 10, I don't know how many years. But this record was different because I had Michael Bland playing drums, and it went really smoothly. The character. What would you say about the characteristics of this record, Ryan?
I think it's more raw, and it's really adventurous and kind of, to me, it's exciting and fun to play. Like every song on the record translates live. And I feel like that's because of pre-production. We ended up playing for Steve, the album, like a concert over Zoom.
Yeah.
Which is the first time I've ever done that.
Whoa, technology. So over Zoom, explain to me how that works.
I was like, that's, what are you talking about? Because I'm kind of I'm a Luddite or something. It's like, yeah, we'll just put me on a screen in the practice space, and you guys will play the song, and I'll listen, and I'll go, yeah, I don't like that. Change it.
Wow.
And I'll go, okay, how about this? And he's like, better. But
so he did this without being in Minneapolis?
The pre-production.
Oh, the pre-production. Got it.
Pre-production, yeah, in the practice space.
Cool.
And pre-production, as Ryan was saying, is, I think, a really essential element of recording a band. I mean, you don't really do pre-production if you're Thomas Dolby. I don't know why I came up with his name, but
probably
you're doing
not,
everything on a computer and or whatever the case may be. You don't really have to rehearse the band and. Jeez.
I'm curious about the. You were a big fan of drag racing growing up, and I'm curious to hear about Shirley Muldowney.
Yes.
Muldowney. Shirley Cha-Cha Muldowney.
Cha-Cha, yes.
Yep. Who was a pioneer for women in the sport that women just didn't completely belong in. And she's the cover image and model and part of inspiration of this new record. Tell me more of this where you draw a connection.
Hold up the product. Yeah, I used to collect dragster cars when I was a real little kid, like baseball cards. But they're just dragster cars. Pictures of dragsters, and I don't know. I've always liked car design for some reason. I don't really like driving, and I drive a really shitty car. But I do like to go fast, which is why I don't like driving, because I can't drive 55. Who said that?
Sammy Hagar.
Right.
So you can't drive 55 in the neighborhoods of Minneapolis?
Yeah, so here she came, and started beating all these people, and I just was like, to imagine what she was up against, being the first woman to walk into a bunch of greasy dudes going, chicks can't drive, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, she was one of those people that, you remember the War of the Sexes? It was like Bobby Riggs and Billie Jean King, and there was this early kind of movement of women coming to the forefront, and she was right on, right there. And she's always been a huge hero to me, and I got the idea, slowly but surely, and we called her up, and she was excited about it. She's still alive, and
amazing.
She gave us her blessing, and that made the whole thing feel even better, because sometimes people will go, no, you can't use my image for your record cover or whatever the case may be. And always been a fan, and she's selling. She's still involved with racing a lot. She doesn't drive anymore.
Okay.
But they had 20 replicas of her funny car, and they're for sale right now. We had a picture of her in front of a funny car that we were going to use, and she said, no, let me send you a picture of... She wants to be known for the dragster. And that's what... The dragster is the craziest, weirdest looking vehicle to me, especially when I was a kid. I was like, what is like a rocket with huge back wheels and tiny front wheels?
Yep.
And she got in a terrible crash. And she came right back. And, hopefully I'll get to meet her, I was like, why aren't we sending records to this thing she's doing with the cars and the National Hot Rod Association? It's so cool sounding, isn't it?
So cool. I feel like there's a parallel, too, with people who like hide speed chasing also with heavy, loud rock and roll. It's such an adrenaline thing.
Loud.
So when you were a little
really
kid,
loud.
and it's loud. So you were in a little kid and we're going out to drag races and seeing this and being
I
not
didn't
really
go to any drag races when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It just wasn't in the cards for me. So I suppose I fantasized about it and watched it on TV. But yeah, I know. As far as I know, Brainerd is where you go to.
Yep. I've been at that
race.
here once.
You've
I saw
been
some
there?
motor
We played
cycle
there
racing.
once.
Oh, cool.
But what I really want to do is take my Toyota Camry out there and see how fast it'll go. It's on my list of bucket list, I guess.
Yes, do it with a Camry. Do it. Brian, I want to point to you for a second in observing from the recording room, listening to your guitar playing. And I remember, Dave, you mentioned, I was like, oh yeah, Ryan's got like about 100 billion guitar students. Like,
I think that's about the right
We've surpassed 100 billion.
Oh, have you? Okay. So, tell me about being a guitar teacher and then also being a rock star musician, because I feel like it's a common thing for a lot of musicians they also are teachers. But like, tell me about being a teacher and then also crossing over.
I think it's super common now, for people that are in bands and recording and touring to also teach. It's a passion. I was raised by two teachers. Both my parents were teachers, and I've always really gotten into that idea of passing on information and sharing things with people that are trying to do the same thing.
Sure.
So it's kind of fun to do it remotely on tour and do a lot of interviews and videos and stuff and post them.
Oh, cool. That's so cool. And Dave, you have a shirt that's...
I'm still waiting for my free lesson. He told me he'd give me a guitar lesson.
Oh, really? Well, what's up? What's the holdup, Brian?
I don't know. I don't think he wants me to be as good as
I have to.
I
can't.
think
We
he
have to.
doesn't want to give me all his secrets of the trade.
Can't pass
or
all
whatever.
the secrets.
But it's pretty amazing. Though. I got to tell you, we'll be on tour,
Yep.
and he'll be teaching lessons on his computer. And there's a joke that's like, "Where's Ryan?" And it's like,
You're a
he's
true
probably teaching a
multitasker.
lesson.
Yeah.
He's probably teaching a lesson, and anyways, I haven't learned jack shit from this guy. I even offered to pay him for a lesson. You know how that goes.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, get in line, dude.
You don't just learn just by hearing his blending into you, I'm sure.
No. I mean, he's moving backwards when he's copying my chords.
I do like the game where you play something and you go, "What chord is this?" That's a fun. That's a fun
doesn't
thing.
make up chords.
That
and
is
try to,
impressive to do
Try
that.
to get him to name a chord that I just made up.
You can probably name and know that you're playing. I wish I knew the fretboard like that. I have a lot of guitar envy for great guitar players.
Me too. I was just thinking
Yeah.
about that the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm jealous of some guitar players that get to play a lot of leads because I want to play a lot of leads.
Yeah.
And then I secretly kind of start not liking them
I
because
have
they just stand there. And I'm like, I want to do that.
same. I'll be like, oh, I want to do that. Why? The guitar players make it look so easy, and then I'm like, I try it, and I'm like, ding, ding. I hit a lot of bad notes. It's yeah.
Dave actually shreds leads, though. That's a fact.
I can actually. I
Yeah.
would believe that. Yeah.
I just listened to one of my leads on the record, and I'm like, Ryan, I think I ruined that song with my abrasive
I think it's great. I love
atonal
it.
solos.
I love it.
We're all our worst own critics. So, yeah, I noticed you have a vote shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to make any proclamations of
Yeah,
your political
I
stance?
would. I
Yeah.
got Kamala fever. I got
Yeah.
the fever.
Yes.
I couldn't be more excited about Kamala Harris, and I think that she is amazing. And when the first time around, when it was Trump and Biden, I started just, people say vote, which is good. It's good. Everyone should vote. But then I started go, why am I saying vote when I know what I'm really trying to say, which was vote for Joe Biden.
Right.
And I was doing an interview with some people at, what is that called? The Brady Bunch thing, when you do a
That was Zoom.
Zoom
Yeah.
thing or something. And I'm like, yeah, vote for Joe Biden. What's the worst thing that could happen? He could die, and then Kamala Harris would be president, and that'd be awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
So here she is, and I offered my services to play fundraisers. I've been to a fundraiser already, and then you throw Tim Walz in there, and then that kind of adds even more. Yeah, this is for me, kind of.
Minnesota pride.
Yeah, and just she seems really great. I think her background is amazing, and I think she's super smart. And I hope she wins.
You do. Yeah. You do. Thank you so much, Ryan, Dave, for coming into the studio, The Current, and love
you,
the new
Diane.
record. Listen to it on the local show, and be on the lookout for their show at First Avenue coming up. December,
Tickets are going
probably.
fast. How was that?
Good.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Current is public media made possible thanks to member support.